Hey guys, David here. So we have the last video we have a maintenance job that we have all locked in. Sorry. So we have a maintenance job that we're all locked in, and now what I want to do a little brief video on is payment schedules. Okay, so this is the most important part of any job. Getting paid on time, getting paid up front is an absolute nightmare, and you've got to make sure that you can nail it. So what you want to do is you want to create like a Word doc, or you can get an NZCB contract if you're over $30,000. I think they're a little bit too intense, to be brutally honest. I've used them for new build projects before, but for like decks, maintenance, bathrooms, smaller jobs, we just use a Word doc. I'll attach it in the file, and you guys can use that template yourself. You should be setting your payment schedules to 2 working days. If a client doesn't have the money, or if they're waiting on funds, then you shouldn't be signing up with them, and they should be smart enough to know this as well. So a question that you can always throw in there is be like, are you guys good for finance? Are you financing this job? Are you cash bankrolling this job? What's your situation with finance? It's always good to do a little bit of DD. Always makes you come across a little bit more professional when you're giving them the questions as well. They're not just questioning you on doing their DD on you, if that makes sense. So let's just do a little brief rundown on a small maintenance job, what this would look like. Let's just base it off a 1 day job, okay? So we'll go real small. So job value, $3,500. There's 2 ways you can do this. Deposit the night before, 50%, $1,750. Get them to attach a screenshot and an email. Hey, just confirming you've paid this deposit. These are our terms of trade. Can you make sure that's in? Final payment due 48 hours after. So once you've done the project, you can walk around with them, make sure they're happy, get an email, get it in writing, get stuff in writing. So get an email, send them a text. Yep, we're happy, cool, good as gold, no worries. Get your 50% afterwards, okay? Full payment if you have a good rapport with the client. So if you've done a lot of work with them, if they're a referral, if they're through someone that you know, this is something that you can do as well. I'm happy to do the works without a deposit, but if you're happy to pay me the evening that the work's done, I'll meet you on site at 5 o'clock when you get home. We can discuss the works, discuss what we've done, make sure you're happy, get them to send a screenshot that night. That can be a little bit risky, but term one is always get 50% up front. Term two, you can get a deposit, a full payment afterwards, but yeah, depending on your rapport with the client, you'll have to judge that one yourself. So now let's move down to like a deck payment. So we'll go for like a job value is $40,000. Materials are expensive for decks, man. If you're gonna do like a 40 square meter deck, pretty much your labor's gonna be 40%, your materials are gonna be 40%, and then you're gonna sort of have your P&G items at like sort of 20%, maybe down to 15. Get a deposit, material deposit to be paid. Tell them, hey, the materials will be landed on site. These are your materials. You own them. We don't own them. If they're a little bit hesitant, remember I'm basing all these payment schedules off if they're a client that's a little bit niggly. So you can kind of put the ball back in their court. Let them know, hey, listen, these materials are yours. We don't own them. You own them. Um, get a $12,000 check off them. Pay the bill straight away to your merchant. Get the materials dropped off on site, and even send them like a screenshot of the delivery being confirmed on site, or when you're going to put the materials on site, just so they know. Deposit two. So this could be like once you've done all the bearers are laid. So you get on site, mark out your post holes, drill all your post holes. Your post should be in within a day and a half. Let them set. Come back day two, lay all your bearers down. So on day two, you can invoice a bigger payment here. The reason why I've done this in the past is I've never just split the job into 30, 30, 30, because 30 to claim is a huge amount on the back end when you've already done the work. So what I try and do is like if you can smack out bearers or even get to joy stage by that first week, you're looking at like 60% of the job, 70% of the job's already been paid, and you're pretty much nearly finished. So that's why I try and do it. Deposit final payment $6,000. So if you can get a $40,000 deck done in 5 to 7 working days, you're getting 34K up front within 10 days, and then you've got a $6,000 final to get within that 48-hour period. Not everyone's going to go to a 48-hour period. Some might want 5 working days, but if any residential client wants to do 20th of the month, fuck them off. I wouldn't do that. It's not worth it. 20th of the month is so old now. It's such a commercial thing. Don't be doing it in residential. Um, yeah, reason why that second payment can be bigger is you're on site, you're working, and you're into the job. Final payments are always the hardest to get. So you want to make sure you get like bulk 60, 70% of your payments throughout the portion of the job, okay? With a smaller deck, say under 12K, you could do 2 payments. So you could do just a deposit, material deposit, and then final, because you might have the job done within like 4 to 5 days, and then you're pretty much just getting paid within that week. If anyone doesn't want to pay you until completion or 5% up front, no, don't do it, man. We've had guys like that saying, oh, we only want to pay 5% deposit on a $20,000 deck. I'm like, idiot. Like, no, I'm not bankrolling your project. Sorry. New build payment. Not as familiar with these. I've seen a lot of these. We've drawn them up. We personally, our business, we don't really do a ton of new builds, but we've done a few. So this is kind of how I would stagger it. Most clients will need either a master builder's contract or an NZCB contract. We sort of aim for 20% payments here. So we just did one on a dwelling. It was $500,000. This is pretty much how we've done it. Okay, so $100,000 up front. Pre-order your frames, pre-order your windows. Excavation's underway. Your foundations are going to be underway as well. Prepay all your concrete, prepay all your sub trade services in the ground there. Deposit $100,000 once foundations are down. So whether that's the concrete slabs being poured or your piles are in, pay your remaining subs for your foundations. Start prep paying for your scaffolding, your roofing, your cladding materials, etc., etc. Deposit 300,000 once the roof is on. Should only be 2 weeks until you get frames up, ready for roof, etc. Frames can go up in a day, up to sort of a 200 square meter house, depending how fast you are. But most companies will want to blow frames out in a day. Then you've got like bracing, straightening, plumbing, doing all that stuff. That can take 2 days. Trusses landed on the roof on the 3rd day or the 4th day. Ready for roof in 3 to 4 days, and then you should be roof on. So within that sort of 3 weeks, you can collect, quite a bit of money. The longest period for roofing is that interior fit out. So once you get the roof on, it's not too bad, but once you start getting into all that interior stuff, the job can slow up a little bit. So once again, you want to get bulk payment, as much payment up front as you can. Start prepaying a shitload of those subs, whether it's 50% or 70%. And then you can make things easier on the back end once you get those back 2 to 3 payments. So $100,000 once the windows are in. So the cladding's on, the windows on site. You've made your 50% final payment for those. Now you're starting to insulate jib line on the inside. Okay, so you've already collected. You're up to your $400,000 payment here. Now you're into the slow burning stuff on the inside. So I'd highly recommend that on the deposit 100,000 for roof, deposit 100,000 for windows. You start prepaying a heap of your subs inside. So like your floor coverings, your plumber's going to have a 50% already. He'll invoice you a 50% on final. Yeah, floor coverings, painting, plaster. If you've got a decorating contract with one guy, he might be 40,000. Even pay him 30K up front if you've got a good relationship with him. Just depends. You've got to be careful with subs. You want to hold as much money as you can, but it's always good. I don't know. I always notice if I have a good relationship with subs and they're not going to run away, I always like to prepay them as much as I can so they've got the money rather than me. 80,000 deposit once plaster's on the walls, kitchen's in, bathroom's been done, and you're moving into floor coverings now. So you've got kind of your heaviest costs done there, and that'll come off your $480,000. Deposit 20,000 on CCC. This is the one where you're going to have to wait 2 to 3 months. Unfortunately, you'll get like a final application, but you won't get the actual CCC sign off for sort of up to 10 weeks. So your profit margin on a job like this is if it's 15%, you're looking at 75K. You're going to be waiting on half of that remaining profit, 20K for up to 12 weeks, which is a bit of a shame, but that's just the way it is. But you always just plan it down the track. If you're smoking out new builds, you pretty much know every 12 weeks you're getting 1 to 2 payments of $20,000. These timelines and payments will differ on each size of contract and each size of the build. These are just like a generic payment schedule of how I think it should run. Sorry guys, bit of a cold. Bathroom payments. Let's just go over this. Internal jobs I always find a little bit nigglier. You're dealing with clients' emotions. You're in their house. You've got subbies coming in, random people. So got to be a little bit more careful here. I definitely put stuff in budget like floor coverings, even protecting, wrapping walls if you can. Yeah, like I said, you're in people's homes. It can be a little bit more emotional for them, so you've got to be very careful. Let's go with a different scenario on this one. All the other ones we've done deposits up front. Let's just do a different scenario. So as bathrooms aren't super material heavy, like most of the time you're paying for 8 sheets of jib on the wall, 2 on the ceiling, skirts and arcs, bathroom stuff, you might pay 5 to 6K. Let's just say if they're a little bit hesitant on paying or they've made it clear that they've been ripped off in the past, let's just do a payment 10K once the demolition's complete and the cap's complete. So if you get into a bathroom, you're pretty much demoing, stripping, capping off the plumbing items in the first day. So if you can say you're on site for 1 day, you've paid the plumber $415 for a disconnect, you've paid your boys $40 an hour for a strip for a day, $300, you're down $700. And then you get the payment of 10,000 that night. Not a huge loss if they don't pay, but let's just say every client's good, and you'll get paid, so that's fine. $10,000 once the jib's on the walls. You pretty much know you're going to have a day for the plumber, a day for the sparky. Let's just say we're moving some PowerPoints. Day 3, you're going to get another 10K on the jib on the walls. Bathrooms are super fast, which is awesome. So by day 3, by the end of the first week, you're going to have $20,000 in the bank account. To be fair, if you've got a good relationship with the client again, you could probably put this down to 3 payments, but we'll just put it into 4 just for learning curve. $10,000 once the painting is complete and the fit off is to go. So you've done the majority of the work, walls are on, jibs on, plaster's done, painting's been done, showers in, plumber's been paid, vanity's fitted, mirrors up. Now you're just doing the fit off. So this might be like the final silicons, tidy up of the house, rubbish off site. Final $5,000. Snag list is complete. You can walk through them. So you can probably knock out a bathroom in 3 weeks if it's a basic one. And you're turning over 35K. But once again, you're getting like over half the payments in the first week, which is always good. Good for business. Cash flow is king. Let me know if you have any comments on that, if you've had anything different, if you have any questions or anything you want me to break down in regard to payment schedules. But that's kind of how I'd break it down for 4 jobs. Cheers, guys. Look out for the next video.